While at sea, Luffy designed a Jolly Roger to represent the crew. After sketching the design using his artistic skills, Usopp painted it. However, Nami spotted the island of rare animals not far away, an island rumored to contain legendary treasures but sacredly protected by gods. The crew decided to dock on the island to obtain its treasures. However, they quickly encountered strange hybrid animals and an unseen figure claiming to be a god. After his makeshift traps failed against the crew, he attempted to retreat, but the crew caught up with him. They discovered the man to be Gaiman, a man trapped in a box for 20 years. Luffy quickly befriended Gaiman, but he warned them of the horrors that awaited them in the Grand Line. Gaiman explained his past. Once a young boy aboard a pirate ship, he also arrived on the island to search for treasures, but his crew failed to find any after a month of searching and prepared to leave. Eventually, Gaiman found treasure atop a mountain but fell from the mountain and into a box, where he remained. He also learned that his crew had sailed away without him, leaving him behind. The group decided to seek the treasure themselves. However, after Luffy climbed the mountain, he realized that all 5 treasure chests at the mountain's peak were empty. Luffy decided to invite Gaiman to join their crew, but Gaiman refused, stating that he had befriended the native animals on the island. He also said that knowing there was no treasure gave him peace and the freedom to live life as he pleased. After thanking them for their help, Gaiman bid them farewell as the crew departed for their next destination. After Luffy found a box of cannonballs on the ship, he and Usopp decided to play with the ship's cannons. While they did this, Zoro dozed off, where he dreamt about his childhood. Zoro was a dojo challenger in Shimotsuki village, challenging the local dojos to duels. However, after challenging Kushairu's dojo, he faced defeat at the hands of Kushairu's daughter, Kuina, and as promised, had to join the dojo as a student. After rigorous training stricter than his peers, he gained enough strength to defeat the elders in the dojo, but still couldn't defeat Kuina. Zoro challenged Kuina to a match using real swords instead of wooden ones. Kuina defeated Zoro 2,000 times. However, she despaired that she couldn't become a powerful swordsman because she was a girl. Zoro and Kuina promised each other to train harder and become stronger, with one of them becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. Both fulfilled their promises and worked hard in training, but Kuina suffered a fatal fall down the stairs. Upon Kuina's death, Zoro resolved to become the strongest swordsman in the world to fulfill his promise. Kushiro entrusted Zoro with Kuina's cherished heirloom katana, the Wado Ikimonji, for him to continue his training. Zoro would train for another 8 years before leaving the dojo to become a pirate hunter. In the present, Luffy fired the cannon at a distant rock. Afterwards, they went to the kitchen, only to find themselves attacked by Johnny, Zoro's old friend. Johnny accused the crew of attempting to kill his friend. Johnny explained that after his bounty hunting partner, Yosaku, fell ill due to an unknown sickness, they stopped at a rock to allow Yosaku to rest. However, the rock was targeted by Luffy's cannon, which he believed was a deliberate attack. The crew took Yosaku aboard their ship, where Nami diagnosed him with scurvy, a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C. After treating his condition by feeding him lime juice, they brought him below deck to rest. The crew decided they needed a skilled cook to meet their food needs. They agreed to stop at Barati, a ship and restaurant on the sea. However, they arrived alongside Marine Lieutenant Fullbody, who entered the restaurant for a date but ordered his men to vandalize the ship. Luffy diverted their cannonball using his rubber body, but it accidentally hit the rooftop of Barati, causing a large hole and injuring the head chef, Zeph. As Luffy had no money to pay for repairs, Zeph forced him to work as a chore boy for a whole year to make amends for the incident, refusing to negotiate with Luffy. Meanwhile, Fullbody got into an argument with the restaurant's sous chef, Sanji, after a previous attempt to place flies in his soup. As the argument escalated, Fullbody destroyed the table, spilling the soup. Angered by the food wastage, Sanji kicked Fullbody using his feet, prompting other crew members to enter the restaurant to investigate the loud noises. The Barati's pâtissier, Patty, reprimanded Sanji for his violent actions against Fullbody. Zeph also scolded Luffy from above, causing them to fall into the dining area below. As Zeph, Patty, and Sanji continued to argue, Fullbody attempted to escape, but his men informed him that Don Krieg, the most feared pirate in the East Blue, had escaped their custody despite several days of hunger. One of Krieg's officials, Jin, arrived at the restaurant, requesting food. Patty refused to feed him as Jin couldn't pay for the meal, leading to him being beaten up and thrown out. Sanji decided to generously serve Jin a seafood risotto dish, which he gratefully accepted. Watching from above, Luffy invited Sanji to join his crew, but Sanji declined, stating that he had reasons to stay at Baratie. Jin warned Luffy about the dangers in the Grand Line. Jin left to return to his captain. Luffy and Sanji returned to work, with the latter going back to being a chore boy, but his mischievousness caused chaos in the kitchen. Patty ordered him to be a waiter, sending him to the dining area to take orders. While Luffy tended to the crew's table, Sanji entertained Nami, much to Zeph's annoyance. Meanwhile, Jin returned to Krieg at their headquarters. Despite Sanji's kindness to Jin, they decided to plan an attack on Baratie. Sanji attempted to impress Nami by presenting her with a fruit Macedonia, which led to an argument with Zeph. However, the fog rolled in, and the customers noticed the arrival of Krieg's fleet. Due to fear of Krieg's reputation, the patrons quickly fled the restaurant. Krieg entered Baratie with Jin, requesting food and promising not to attack the ship if fed. Against Patty and everyone else's wishes, Sanji agreed to feed him, giving Krieg a bowl of rice. Krieg, hungry as he was, remained true to his reputation. Once he finished his meal, he betrayed Baratie, launching an attack. With the damaged ship and 100 starving subordinates, he ordered his men to eat everything they could and then leave Baratie to take the ship for himself. Sanji tried to comply with Krieg's demands, but he was stopped by the other crew members, who refused to surrender the ship. Patty shot him with Shokutari meatball, but his golden armor left him completely unharmed by the blast. In response, guns emerged from the armor, and he fired at the kitchen staff. At this point, Zeph decided to submit to Krieg, providing him with food for his men. Zeph criticized Krieg for his failed attempt to enter the Grand Line. Krieg acknowledged Zeph as a former pirate known for fighting only with his legs but noted that he retired from piracy after losing one of his legs. Believing himself lacking the knowledge needed to navigate the Grand Line, Krieg asked for Zeph's old logbook to help him return to the sea. He returned to his ship to provide food for his crew, warning them to leave before he returned. Jin apologized on behalf of Krieg, unaware of his plans to betray Baratie. He explained that the entire fleet of Krieg pirates was defeated by a lone man, believed to be a renowned world swordsman known as Hawkeyes. Out of 50 ships with 5,000 crew members, only the flagship containing 100 men survived the attack, thanks to a storm that brought it back to the East Blue. Krieg distributed food to his people, explaining his intention to scrap the flagship, take over Baratie, and return to the Grand Line. He shot a crew member solely for protesting this decision. However, before they could begin their attack, the ship was split in half by a man, indicating that Hawkeyes was pursuing the Krieg pirates to Baratie. The ship sank, and its crew members fell into the sea. They also spotted Johnny and Yosaku floating in the water, revealing that Nami had deserted the crew, taking the ship with her. Yosaku explained how the Going Merry was lost. While they had their backs turned, Nami pushed both of them into the sea, claiming she needed to attend to business, and took the ship, leaving the crew behind. Almost immediately after Johnny and Yosaku fell into the sea, they witnessed the destruction of the ship by the Krieg pirates. Zoro identified the attacker as Dracul, Hawkeyes, Mihawk, known as the greatest swordsman in the world. Mihawk stated that he attacked the Krieg pirates merely for his own amusement. Zoro promptly challenged him to a duel, which Mihawk accepted. However, seeing Zoro somewhat weaker than him, he used a small knife. They began their battle. Despite using 3 swords, Zoro couldn't land a single blow on Mihawk, who effortlessly blocked each attack with his small knife. Eventually, he managed to wound Zoro, stabbing him in the chest. Recognizing Zoro's strong resolve, Mihawk agreed to use his Mato, Yuru, against Zoro. Using this weapon, Mihawk broke 2 of Zoro's swords, leaving only Wado Ikimonji untouched while Zoro sustained further injuries. In defeat, Zoro allowed Mihawk to strike him in the chest, losing consciousness. Mihawk deliberately spared Zoro, telling him to become stronger so that eventually Zoro could surpass him. Zoro agreed, vowing not to lose in another battle before defeating Mihawk. Satisfied with the duel, Mihawk decided not to pursue Krieg and left. Despite all the commotion, Krieg managed to successfully attack Baratie. Luffy ordered Usopp and Zoro to chase after Nami while he confronted Krieg alone. Zeph agreed to waive Luffy's debts if he defeated Krieg. Krieg briefly conversed with his men about his intentions, stating that if they were to take over Baratie, its inconspicuous appearance could be used to their advantage. Zeph's logbook could also provide valuable strategies for crossing the Grand Line, as well as information surrounding the legendary treasure, the One Piece. This spurred his men to initiate the attack. To prevent the restaurant from being damaged during the fight, Sanji instructed a staff member to raise the fins, 2 platforms on either side of the restaurant that could be used in battle. The Krieg pirates entered through the port side fin of Barati. While the chefs fought back, Patissier Patty and Charcutier Carne operated the Sabagashira, a fish-shaped paddleboat, and aimed it at Krieg. Krieg's armor blocked the Sabagashira artillery, and he then hurled the boat back towards Barati. The boat crashed onto the fin. The chefs charged at the Krieg pirates but were defeated. Remembering how they were welcomed at Barati, Patty and Carne redoubled their efforts and defeated many of the enemy forces, but were brought down by one of Krieg's officers, Iron Wall, Pearl, a man covered in metal shields. Pearl boasted of his record, having won all his battles without shedding a drop of blood. However, as he spoke, Krieg attacked Luffy. Luffy fell, and Pearl was accidentally hit from behind, causing Pearl to hit his head on one of his shields, giving him a nosebleed. His record was tarnished, and Pearl, infuriated, went berserk, setting himself on fire, which spread throughout the entire fin. Despite this, Sanji managed to repeatedly strike Pearl using his fighting skills, using only his legs. Pearl was pushed back, and he was eventually knocked down by a falling mast, knocking him out. Despite the initial success, Jin captured Zeph, holding him at gunpoint. Jin held Zeph at gunpoint, threatening to shoot. Pearl recovered from Sanji's attacks and prepared to counterattack, stating that Jin would shoot if Sanji evaded his attacks. With no choice, Sanji had to accept the onslaught, as he was hit on the head by Pearl's shields. As he fell, Sanji remembered his childhood with Zeph. As a child, Sanji worked as a cook on a cruise ship, which was later attacked by Zeph's crew, the Cook Pirates. The Cook Pirates raided the ship and defeated Sanji, where Sanji revealed his dream of finding the legendary All Blue. However, the ships were suddenly caught in a storm, and a particularly powerful wave swept Sanji overboard. Zeph chose to risk his life, diving into the sea to save Sanji from drowning. Another strong wave sank both ships, likely killing everyone aboard. Zeph attempted to save Sanji, but his leg got caught in parts of the ships. Zeph had to amputate his own leg using a chain to free himself. He then rescued Sanji and brought him to a deserted rocky island. On the island, they rationed their supplies and went to opposite ends to look out for incoming ships. Although Sanji rationed his portion of food to last for 20 days, it eventually ran out, and he went hungry for several days. He confronted Zeph, who held a larger portion, and opened his bag. To his horror, Sanji discovered that Zeph's portion was treasure, and Zeph gave all the food to Sanji. Sanji later discovered that Zeph also had to cut off his right leg to save his life. Zeph explained his reasoning, saying that he shared Sanji's dream of finding the All Blue, so he sacrificed his leg to continue Sanji's dream. Eventually, Sanji and Zeph were rescued by a ship, and together they founded the Barati restaurant. In the present day, Sanji stands ready to fight for Barati. Furious at the actions of the Krieg pirates, Luffy uses Gomu Gomu no Ono, destroying the entire port side fin. After Luffy destroyed the fin of the Barati, Krieg ordered Jin to kill Sanji. Jin hesitated, knowing that Sanji was the staff member who fed his crew. Pearl attempted to kill Sanji himself, but he was attacked by Jin, who broke through his front shield and knocked him down. Jin decided to personally face Sanji as a gesture of gratitude for his kindness, while Krieg focused on Luffy. Jin, dubbed Man-Demon, for his extreme cruelty, employed his Man-Demon tactics against Sanji. Despite Sanji's initial attack on Jin, he quickly recovered and viciously beat Sanji, causing him serious injuries. However, when Sanji was cornered, he couldn't bring himself to finish him due to regret and guilt. Because of Sanji's compassion, he pleaded with Krieg to stop the attack, but Krieg refused, condemning Jin for his disobedience. Krieg decided to unleash the MH5, a deadly poison gas bomb. Krieg's men donned gas masks to protect themselves, the chefs submerged themselves underwater, and Zeph retreated inside the restaurant. Luffy removed the masks from 2 Krieg pirates and gave them to Sanji and Jin for protection. However, he couldn't find a mask for himself before the bomb was launched. Left without a means to protect himself from Krieg's MH5 gas, Luffy was in a vulnerable position. However, Jin decided to give his own mask to Luffy, saving Luffy's life but exposing himself to the poison. He quickly began experiencing the effects of the poison, causing him to bleed. While the restaurant staff rushed to attend to Jin's condition, Luffy engaged in a fierce battle with Krieg. He broke through Krieg's defenses and punched Krieg's Kenzen mantle, a spiked cape, hitting Krieg in the face. As his final weapon, Krieg used the pauldrons of his armor to assemble the Daisenso, a spear that creates explosions upon impact. To counter this, Luffy punched the spearhead of the Daisenso 5 times in rapid succession, catching it before it could explode each time, eventually breaking the spearhead. Zeph admired Luffy for his determination and fearlessness. After shattering the Daisenso, Luffy continued his onslaught against Krieg. At one point, Krieg ascended to a higher position, where he was attacked by Luffy with a Gomu Gomu no Bazooka, breaking Krieg's weapon. Despite Krieg's attempts to stop him using explosives, Luffy launched a second Gomu Gomu no Bazooka, shattering the weapon once again. Krieg ensnared Luffy with a net, intending for both of them to fall into the sea and drown Luffy. However, Luffy countered by freeing his feet, grabbing Krieg's face with his feet, and slamming him into the Barate's fin using the Gomu Gomu no Ozachi, rendering him unconscious. Luffy fell into the sea but was rescued by Sanji and brought to safety. However, Krieg rose again, now hysterical from his own defeat, attacking his own men in fear. He was attacked back by Jin, losing consciousness once more and being prevented from causing further harm. Escorted away by Jin, he ordered the entire Krieg pirates to retreat, promising to rebuild his crew and eventually encounter Luffy's crew in the Grand Line. Sanji provided the Barate's supply ship to the defeated pirates. On the Going Merry, Nami mourned the loss of the ship, crying and expressing her desire for freedom, mentioning Belmere. After the departure of the Krieg pirates, Luffy requested Sanji to join his crew, which he initially refused. However, Sanji mentioned his dream of finding the All Blue, a mythical ocean where all 4 seas converge. Zeph overheard Sanji and Luffy's conversation. The restaurant staff tasted Sanji's soup, and both Patty, Carne, and Zeph pretended to dislike the soup to prompt Sanji to join Luffy and leave the dining area in anger. Zeph revealed his true intentions to Luffy, which Sanji overheard from outside the restaurant. Finally, he agreed to join the crew as their cook. A shark arrived at the Barate with Yosaku in its mouth. He reported that he hadn't been able to follow Nami but managed to guess her destination, warning them of the danger. Hence, the crew prepared to depart, with Luffy packing food from the kitchen and Sanji getting ready to leave. Sanji stepped out of the Barate in front of the kitchen staff, faced Zeph, and thanked him for his sacrifices. Meanwhile, the Going Merry was nearing its destination, an island ruled by a terrifying pirate crew.